welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new here. I'm so happy that you're here with us. My name is Victoria and I am the owner of Krafted by Koko. We are a small handmade business in North Carolina. We sell budgeting, cash stuffing, stationery, planning goodies, all sorts of handmade planner items, cash stuffing items for your budgets and for all your fun plans. Our first full year on Shopify last year. We switched over from Etsy in 2024 in August. I believe it was August. I have to find the exact date because I don't remember it at this moment, but we switched over from Etsy in 2024 in like August, September timeframe, and have been on Shopify ever since. So last year, 2025 was our first year on Shopify from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And I thought it would be a great time, now that it is January of 2026, to look back at how the year went, go through the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wins, all the things, and kind of do like an overview of how it went. So excited about this type of video. Because I can share with you guys what it's really like to run a small business, and we are still very new. So if you're planning on starting a small business or you have a small business, it's a great time to reflect and look back, and maybe you can learn some things from my challenges and also maybe learn a few things about our wins. Who knows? But I also think it's going to be kind of cool to look back at this video in 2027, at the end of 2026, and see how far we've come and where we maybe did make changes that we wanted to do this year and how they impacted us and things like that. So kind of in a selfish reason, I'm excited to kind of document this right now in the moment. Yeah, so grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's get into all the details. So just to lay some groundwork for y'all, if you're new here and you just happen to stumble on our channel and not really know what Krafted by Koko is, we are a cash stuffing, budgeting, planning, handmade business based in North Carolina. And we first started our business on Etsy, and we're selling cash envelopes, handmade cash envelopes for your budgeting system. And kind of evolved more of those items while we were on Etsy. We were on Etsy for like a full, I would say, year and a half. And one thing that we became really known for, like at the tail end of our time on Etsy, and even more so as we moved into Shopify, was our decorative handmade paper clips. And those have become a fan favorite in our shop. And I'm so happy you guys love them because they are some of my favorite items to make. And currently my husband is helping me. His name is Brent, and he helps me make the paper clips. And he loves making them too. And we love designing them and coming up with new styles. And it's just become a real fan favorite in our shop. So we make a variety of items here in our home. We are currently in our guest room right now. We have made this whole room into our entire crafting studio, alongside a day bed where we can still have guests and family members come to stay with us. But so we were on Etsy from 2023 until August, September of 2024. I think it was August of 2024. When Etsy unexpectedly shut our shop down. And that is probably something I will go into more detail on a later video, because I definitely think that there was a lot of things that was changing on Etsy's platform at the time that caused this to happen. And I've always kind of wanted to share that story with y'all, but it probably deserves its own separate video. And this video is going to be solely just based off of last year's recap. But just to give you a reference, we were on Etsy for about a year and a half until August of 2024. They shut our shop down, and we had to quickly shift. It literally was about a month where we were okay, Etsy shut us down. We need to make a shift. We need to get on our own platform, on a website. And so we quickly moved onto Shopify. And I think it was about a month, maybe month and a half, where we built the website out. We had to retake all photos of all the items and actually make the physical items, because we didn't have stock items just sitting around to take photos of. So we had to make every single item that we wanted to have on our shop, and we had to take pictures of them, build the website, do all the things. And I think we did that in about a month while still working our full-time jobs. And so it was a very scary time for us, I'm not gonna lie, because I had recently, just to give you some reference, I had recently left a job that I had for 12 years. I was working in a corporate job that I was at for 12 years, very stable, balanced income. I had worked up into management and put everything into this. And I had recently left it for other reasons, maybe I'll get into on another video. But part of leaving was knowing that we had a specific set of income coming from our shop on Etsy. And we obviously built in a buffer because we didn't want to make any kind of like rash decisions, but it was still scary at the time when we lost Etsy because we were nervous that we were losing that income. So we had to quickly shift. There was no choice. And we weren't sure if it was going to work. We didn't know if people were going to buy with us. They were going to come back. We didn't know anything. So it was scary, but we did it. And last year was our full year on Shopify. And honestly, like, I would not go back. Etsy was great to be on. It was a fantastic platform to get started, but I'm so happy I went out on my own website on Shopify. And yeah, I haven't looked back since, and I've been so pleased. And 2025 did also have a lot of challenges. Even though we overcame a lot in 2024 shifting to Shopify, 2025 was our full year being on this platform. And I kind of want to go over the wins, the challenges, all that stuff. So we're going to just narrow down to like some of the big highlights for each section. And how I've kind of done that is we're going to list out 5 wins, and then we're going to list out 5 mistakes or challenges or things we would have done differently. And to get started, I thought, let's go ahead and start with the wins, because I really want to acknowledge what went well for us and what we're so grateful for. And this was a hard thing to do because there were so many things that came to my mind that were wins for us. It's challenging. They're not in any specific order, but let's get into it. Okay, before we get into anything more business related, I wanted to express this win first because it was something I really had to overcome last year and that I struggled with quite a while. And just to kind of lay some groundwork, when we had moved from Etsy to Shopify, I knew that there was going to be like a big shift as far as like marketing and having to do social media and be more consistent in that manner. Because at that point in time, I had an Instagram and I was posting, but I wasn't really like posting consistently. I wasn't marketing on social media as much because I had Etsy's platform who was doing that already for me. So there was limited marketing that I was doing at the time, even though I think like I was doing fairly well with staying on top of my Instagram. And I hadn't yet built a YouTube, I hadn't built TikTok, I hadn't like really leveled it up. And I knew that was something I was gonna have to do once we moved to Shopify. And the one thing in particular that scared me about marketing was showing my face. So like even the fact that I'm here right now talking to you on the camera like completely paralyzed me last year. I was so nervous about showing my face. I was so nervous about what people would think of me. I even just hated hearing my own voice on like a voiceover or any type of recording. I don't know if you can relate to that, but it just drove me crazy hearing my voice and thinking about what people were going to think of me. And I looked obviously at other shops who were already doing that and comparing myself to them. I was comparing to, how confident they were and how consistent they were and how it looked so easy for them, and thought like, I'll never be able to do that. Like, I just don't think people will like me. I don't know, like, I don't know what it was. I was just had so much self-doubt, and it was such a negative place to be in. And it was so hard to overcome. And finally, I think it was middle of last year of 2025 where I decided that I just need to do it. Yeah, I just decided to just do it. And you know what? And I think this is what helped me, honestly, was just thinking like, if somebody doesn't like you, or if you get a negative comment, or if you get some hate or anything of that nature, then maybe that person just isn't supposed to be in your life. I didn't want to be somebody else. And I think that was something that I had to overcome. And I know I'm dragging this on, but like so many times we look at other people on social media and we try to mimic what other people do because they're successful or they're doing it well or whatever the case may be. And I think that was a struggle for me because I was trying to be something I wasn't initially when I like filmed myself. And I remember filming my first YouTube video. That was certainly the case. I literally filmed a YouTube video and completely scrapped it because the way I was talking, the way I was acting was just not me, inside and out. And I couldn't bear editing the video and hearing me talk like that or like act that specific way. Like that wasn't me to my core. And so I scrapped the whole video. And I think that was like such a win for me last year, getting back on track, is that I finally pushed myself and showed up on social media. I got a YouTube channel. I downloaded the app for TikTok, started a TikTok, and I started posting more consistently, and I showed my face and I showed my voice. And I just think that was such a personal win, is overcoming that fear. And I think it's really helped me connect with my community. I've always wanted to do that. I wanted you guys to know me and know who I am and know how much love goes into our products and how much I care. And only seeing my hands counting cash or making things, there's only so much connection you can get to that. And I wanted to like connect with you guys more in this way, because we are all virtual, like you guys can't come to my shop because it's in my home. And so the only way for you to know us and get that homey North Carolina, you know, feeling and handmade feeling from our shop is by me showing up in this way. And honestly, like, I'm so glad I did it, not just to connect with you guys, but for myself, to overcome the fear and to know that like people did accept me, people do value what I have to say, or interested in what I have to say, or relate to what I have to say. And I don't know, that's just, honestly, that's been a really big win for me. And I'm so happy that I overcame it and that I'm here on YouTube right now talking to y'all. There is a motorcycle out here and it is being loud. That's what happens when you live out here on these country roads. People love to zoom by. Anyway, the next win I want to share with you is selling out of our mystery bundles. We did 3 mystery bundles last year. We did 2 of our doggy bags, and we did our first ever advent box, which we called our Koko's Xmas Countdown. And if you're wondering what a doggy bag is and you're not familiar with my shop, it's basically what we named our mystery bundles. And each one of them are given a volume. So volume 1 of Koko's doggy bag, volume 2 is what we released last year. You can see the logo on our business is a husky, and that's because we have 2 huskies. And when we had first named the shop, we only had our 1 husky, Koko, and I just love her so much and cherish her. So we named our business Krafted by Koko. And when we were thinking of naming our mystery bundle, we just didn't want it to be called mystery bundle. And I thought doggy bag would be super cute. And anyway, what is actually included in a doggy bag is a bunch of items that we hand make in-house and design thoughtfully to be like seamlessly put into a collection. So when you open that doggy bag, it all is like fits perfectly together and you can use it all in that setup. So the cost for the doggy bag, I believe at that time for our first volume was like $125, I want to say. It was at a higher price point than what we like normally sell in our shop. So that kind of like made us nervous if we would even sell them, because we didn't know if people were actually going to like shop with us, you know, like on Shopify. And at that point we were working really hard on our social media, but we still like, we're so new at it. Like my videos weren't really like aesthetic, and I, you know, didn't really know how to edit. I was using Instagram's platform to edit the videos and like my short form content. And so I wasn't really sure if these were going to sell. So we had a very low quantity that we were selling. I think we had 10 doggy bags at the time. And so for us, I think we sold out in an hour or 2 hours that first launch, which was crazy because at $125 selling 10 of them was just incredible to me. And we even had 1 or 2 more people asking if we had more. So I was like, oh dang, like, you know, obviously I should have made more, but I wasn't sure. Like I thought we could sell 2 or 3, but I didn't know that we would be selling all 10 of them in that short of a time frame. So that was a huge deal for us. And then we launched our volume 2. Similar thing happened, but we increased our quantity. We doubled our quantity. And then when we did our Koko's Xmas Countdown, we like doubled the quantity again. I think we went from 10 to 20 to 30, and had no idea that 30, and this was an even higher price point. I think it was like $225 for the Xmas Countdown, and we sold that out in under 10 minutes. And I literally was shocked to go from selling 10 to 20 and then thinking 30 we would probably be selling them at least throughout the weekend. Had no idea that it would sell in under 10 minutes at that price point, and that was just really exciting for us, because then it's showing that, you know, people value our items and they trust us with their money and that we will give them value. And I don't know, it just really was heartwarming to know that like what we're doing, you know, is working and that people like what we are making. And so anyway, I have to say that it felt incredibly reassuring that we could leave a marketplace like Etsy, go to Shopify. In total, it just felt like a win because it reassured us that moving obviously from Etsy without a choice, going to Shopify and selling out each doggy bag and countdown in that short period of time at a higher price point really reassured us that it could really stand on its own and it didn't need a marketplace like Etsy to sell. And so yeah, I would say that is probably why that one is on this top 5. Okay, so I think I'm gonna move locations because I'm starting to get a little stuffy over there and thought I'd come over here. Okay, I thought I'd come over here with, I kind of changed up location because I was getting really stuffy over there being in the same spot and just talking. So yeah, I changed up. This is my little closet with all of our supplies and my ribbon wall right here. But yeah, the next one I wanted to talk about is something I don't hear a lot of small businesses talk about in this community, which is profitability. You know, we are a business. We are trying to make our business sustain on its own. You know, in the beginning, we started out really small. We started with a borrowed laminator from my mom, a couple sheets of laminate, a few types of paper, and we already had a printer that we were using for my husband's job at the time. And so that's literally all we had. And that's what we started with. And then over time, as things have gotten, you know, busier and we wanted to invest more in our business, we had to front that money all up front. And it's not I wouldn't say like a lot of, you know, like a ton of money to upfront in the beginning, because it's handmade items and you're working with paper and laminate. But once you start getting into more of the commercial grade machines, you can start investing a little bit of money into things, or buying things in bulk, or buying manufactured binders and things that might have your logo on them. All that stuff costs money, and you know, you have to make that decision to invest your own personal money in some cases. And that's what me and my husband have had to do over the years, is decide when we want to make those investments. And this last year was, I think, being on Shopify really helped us look at it as like a true business. I don't know if it was just like the mental shift of being on our own website and having to do the marketing and but it was like more towards the tail end of this year, halfway through this last year, where we started thinking like, okay, we need to invest. We want to buy this, but will it give us, you know, better quality, or will it give us longevity? For instance, I'll give you an example. Our laminator that we purchased a commercial grade laminator this last year, and it was $500. Well, we were going through $70 laminators that we were purchasing on Amazon, like every, I think 3 or 4 months, they were breaking down because of how much we were using them over and over again. And, you know, I just couldn't bring myself to like return those. I mean, I was using them, they were used. So I, you know, had to discard them. I think I still even have 2 right now who kind of still work, like the laminators still work, but I can't bring myself to get rid of them. So they're just sitting there in case something ever happens to my commercial grade laminator. At least I have a laminator like here in my house that I can use. But it was like $70 every 3 months. I was having to buy a new one, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I need to change what we're doing. So I found a fantastic laminator, and I spoke to the company, the actual company who makes this laminator, and asked if my materials and what I was looking for, my final result would give me what I was looking for, and made the decision to buy it. And it's been fantastic. We had it all last year. Knock on wood that nothing happens to it, but it's been an amazing machine. It is so heavy duty and can handle so much lamination and being on for a long period of time. So that was obviously like a no-brainer, great, you know, investment. But not getting into the weeds too much on this, but those are the types of things that we had to consider over the course of this past year. And with all the investments we made, you know, we were actually able to turn a profit this last year. And that was huge for us, being able to know that like we can actually sustain this business. You know, we both work full-time jobs, so we invest a lot of our like personal time outside of working full-time on this. Like, it's literally all that we do, eat and breathe, is our shop, but it's like our love, it's our passion, it's everything to us. And so nights and weekends we're doing this, and knowing that all that time and energy and heart and soul we're putting into it is actually could be a sustainable business for us in the future. And that was just really exciting and reassuring for us as we go into this next year, to keep pushing forward and knowing that we're on track to keep this going, and on a financial standpoint, and we're not just putting, you know, money into it and it's draining us, it's giving back to us as well. And just like circling back on that, the only way that any of this is all possible and for us to turn a profit is from you guys, whether you are just watching the video and because you're interested, because you're a small business, or you've shopped with us before, or you've liked or commented or even shared a video of ours that reached somebody else who placed an order. Like, all of that comes back and truly affects our family, and that is how we're able to turn the profit, is from you guys shopping with us. Thank you guys for making it all possible, because it really wouldn't be possible without you. Okay, so I'm gonna try to speed this up because I have been getting long-winded, and your girl tends to get long-winded. I just love to talk. I am a true Southerner at heart. And so yeah, let's get on to the next 2 wins so we can finally get to the challenges. But the 4th win for us, definitely probably I have to say, is our repeat shoppers. One thing that I love about Shopify is they literally break down like every single number. You can pull any report you want to pull, and it's going to give you the numbers for it. You can pull categories, collections, like products, sales, all the things. And one thing it tells you on a consistent basis, like every single day, how many of your shoppers that day were repeat shoppers. It'll tell you that for the week, the year, and all that. And so I love seeing that, because a lot of our business is built on having repeat business. We have had so many people come back and shop with us, and I can't tell you how much that truly means to me. Like, it literally means the world. And so over the course of last year, our repeat shopper average was 50%. So that means 50% of people who are coming to our shop were repeat shoppers. And that means the other 50% were new people coming to our shop. And I can't tell you like how much this truly means to me. And I kind of want to break it down just a little bit, but I'll try not to be long-winded. Just shut up. I had to charge it just a little bit. So kind of have to catch back up in here. But we didn't have a large social media presence at the time. And so having people come find us from Etsy to Shopify, I wasn't sure that connection would actually happen. And first of all, I was surprised. There was a lot of people, even though we had a small social media presence, who still like were following us and did show up on launch day. And that just literally meant the world, because when we pressed that button to go live, we were so nervous. We didn't know if anyone would show up. And it was fantastic to see so many of the names that we had seen consistently on Etsy. And then we saw new people that we had never seen before, which was amazing as well. And then there had been, even over the course of last year, people coming and emailing me or messaging me on Instagram saying, oh my gosh, I thought your shop shut down. I'm so happy I found you. And that literally meant the world to us in that transition period. And then over the course of this last year, having 50% of you guys come back to our shop and purchase again over and over again just literally means so much. I can't express. And so that shows me that like people value what we're doing, and they value the items we're making, and they appreciate our handmade work. And then they want to come back and purchase a second time because they trust and believe that it'll be just like the first time. You know, I know what it's like to go to like a restaurant once and love it, and then go a second time and be disappointed, or go one time and then enjoy it so much, go a second time, it's the same exact experience. And that is literally our goal, is to have the same experience be every single time. And I hope you guys that are repeat shoppers feel that from us. And I hope that's why you do continue to come back to our shop. And I have to say, like, that number really blew me away. And I really appreciate everybody who does support our small business, either whether you're a new customer or a repeat shopper. Like, it really does mean so much to us and what we're doing. So thank you so much. For the last and final win, I'd actually like to call this one a highlight, because looking back at last year, something that I'm incredibly grateful for is being able to work alongside my husband, Brent. As you may know, or if you've never seen him before, he's been on a couple of my YouTube videos, and he typically likes to be off camera, but he does so much for our shop, and it has been just such a blessing to work with him and be able to design and create and build something together. I know that may seem a little cheesy, and don't come at me with hate, but it really is one of the things I'm truly grateful for. When we started this small shop, it was just this little cutout, and it wasn't all built out the way that you see it now. It was literally a small desk over here in this corner, and I had just enough room on that desk to put a cutter I had purchased off of from Walmart actually, and my laminator and a couple sheets of paper. And so when we had started doing a lot of paper clips and other items like that, I needed his help as we started getting busier, and asked him if he'd be willing to help me. And of course, he will do anything to help me. He's such a wonderful person, and jumped right in. He does play guitar, so his hands are already used to working with wires and those types of metals. So him assisting with the paper clips made just so much sense, and he is fantastic at it, and literally basically runs the paper clip department now. That's what we call it, the paper clip department. But we have been through a lot this last year, and there was so much that happened between getting shut down on Etsy, and then starting our Shopify website, and then literally a few months later our house was hit by a car. I know that sounds crazy, but it is true, and we're so thankful that no one was badly injured, and our house was still livable. But there are so many transition points that we've had between that, getting our home repaired because we live and work here, working our full-time jobs on top of doing this small shop. And then once we're done working our full-time jobs, coming together into this space and working together and designing and creating things together. Like, we just live, eat, and breathe it. And working alongside my best friend, because we truly are each other's best friends, has made us just so much more closer. You know, we're building something together, and we, you know, just get to spend more quality time together. Just am so grateful that I get to work with him every single day and build this business with him. It's truly just been so much fun to see where we've come. He's my partner in crime in life, but also in Krafted by Koko. We are just two little peas in a pod, designing and hand making your items, and we just love what we do. So yep, those are the wins for this last year. And I'm sorry if I've been long-winded. It's really hard for me not to talk and go into depth about each one. I could just go on for days. But let's now quickly move over to the challenges or some of the mistakes that we made and how we're going to learn from those. And then we'll shift into our goals for this year and how we're going to implement new strategies for our business to make it more successful and more sustainable and more balanced. So let's get into that. Going into the mistakes, and obviously I like to look at these with a positive view that these mistakes are helping me learn and grow. So I don't mean to be negative on me or be too harsh on myself, but I'm really taking just a keen look at what we did that we could have done differently. And one thing is overbuying on materials. I don't know about you, but I was so afraid of selling out of items that we were releasing that when we would go to purchase them before a launch, I would buy a bunch. So that would be either going to a local craft store and buying strands and strands of beads, or buying online more packs of materials. It could be anything from paper supplies to different charms and beads. I think that's what got me the most was the charms and beads, because it's really hard for me not to get excited about different materials that I find exciting. Whatever it could be, I was so afraid of selling out that I would purchase too much. I'd be too harsh on myself because I think I had good intentions, but it's a learning process. I'm learning how much we're really going to sell of different items, how much to purchase, and then this way I can make better investments going into this year. But that's definitely one mistake I definitely made this last year, is over purchasing supplies. So in that same line of thinking, our next mistake is very similar, but this mistake is the fact that we did not buy the items that we should have bought in bulk. So we were buying tons of supplies that we probably shouldn't have bought a lot of. And then there was some supplies that we were consistently buying on a weekly basis that we probably should have bought in bulk. So looking back at 2025, there was certain products that we were constantly reaching for, like packaging materials or, jumbo gold paper clips or different things like that we were just having to buy consistently over and over and over and over again. Buying in bulk truly helps you save money if you're doing it correctly, if you're buying the right things you need. And so I know that is one thing we did not do on specific items that we should have shifted towards probably mid of last year, but we didn't. And now looking back at the year consistently as a whole and seeing how much we over purchased on specific items that we could have bought in bulk, that is definitely going to be something that I change this year and learn from, and hopefully can make better. I hope this year, if there's other new categories of items that I should be buying in bulk, hopefully my mind will be hey, remember this happened to you this year. Maybe it's time to reconsider buying in bulk. I'm hoping that it'll be a trigger for me to kind of see that in advance rather than reacting to it too late. Not that it's too late, it's just that I could have saved us some money last year, or even just convenience. But working from our home and having just this space, I don't want to be taking over my living room and all of our personal space. I like to keep everything confined into this room. It's hard to think about where we would store some items like packaging or different things of that nature. So that's something we're just gonna have to be more intentional about, and where we can store everything and what makes sense to buy in bulk. So anyway, I'd say that is definitely one of our mistakes this year, is not buying in bulk when we should have. Mistake number 3, I have to say that this past year, 2025, we could have done a much better job with how we launched our products, especially our seasonal launches where it was around the holidays, in line with our processing time. So because we are handmade to order, it can take 2 to 3 weeks for our processing time, especially around the holidays. We're at the tail end of that processing time. And that was something that I didn't really factor in as much as I should have. So for example, if we launched last year, we launched our holiday bundles, our giftable items, our mystery bundles with paper clips that were really good gift ideas, or just personal gifts you could buy for yourself that maybe were stocking stuffers or things like that. But we launched those right around Black Friday, and even with a 2 to 3 week processing time, people were going to get it like right there on time once it shipped. And people who purchased it after that weekend, it was going to be a really tight race to get in for Christmas. So I think just timing things out better, whether that is if we're going to be at a 2 to 3 week processing time because everything is handmade to order like it currently is now, then we need to be launching earlier. I really want to think intentionally as far as like, when is it launching? Will the customer receive it even if they were to purchase a week after it launches? Just so this way I can build a buffer of time to ensure that we're launching earlier than later. And if we do need to launch later, or we decide to intentionally, maybe we have ready to ship items like gift items. To pop some up on the screen, but like right now we have our Valentine's Day paper clips.
Okay guys, just a really quick update here. I just want to let you know that we have already actually implemented this since filming this YouTube video. We started Koko's Quick Ship, which is our already handmade items ready to go out the door. The processing time is 2 to 4 days. I'm so excited to already cross this off my checklist for 2026 to get this going, and thought I'd share with you guys real quick. So back to your scheduled programming.
Maybe having those already set and pre-made, but we know that the timing is definitely something we want to improve upon this year to make it just a smoother experience for not only our customer, which is the most important part, but also for ourselves, just to feel like we're able to like uphold our promises and it makes sense when the customer is getting the product in their hand and able to use it. So now moving into the next mistake is our number 4 mistake. And I think this one has to definitely be this last holiday season. It was so incredibly busy. I can't thank you guys enough for coming and supporting our shop on our Black Friday sales and then also our Advent box. And I think one thing that I definitely underestimated was how busy the holiday season is. Just underestimated how much help I would need. I knew I might need help from somebody, and so I asked my sister if she would come. Her name is Frida, and you might have seen her on some previous clips I've put in YouTube, but I've asked her to come and help me earlier in the summertime, knowing that I would maybe need some help with certain things. And even though her and my mom both came and helped, which was so incredible, they came several, well, I think my sister came two or three times, and then my mom came once. We still needed probably more help because we are working full-time jobs. I'm sure if me or my husband were doing this, one of us would be doing this full-time, it would have gone much smoother. But our business isn't really quite there yet where it makes sense for us to do this full-time. And so I think next year what I would do is recruit help earlier on and have things prepped ahead of time, on top of maybe sourcing out some of the handmade things during at least that season. Like our handmade backing cards for our paper clips, for instance. I can show you here. Our paper clips all come on these handmade backing cards. And so we put them on here and display them. And we cut, we print, we laminate, and we cut all of these. And that was what I was having my sister do on top of the freebies. We give a freebie with every single order. And those are also print, cut, laminated, and you even get a mini paper clip with each freebie pack. And so maybe if I just sourced these backing cards, all I would have to worry about fulfilling is the freebies in a handmade process. I like to keep everything as handmade as possible, but at least for some things like these backing cards, maybe that is something I can source out this coming up year, and also recruit help earlier on just to make everybody's life easier here at our shop, but also have the customer get their products a little bit sooner and just stay on time with processing. And yeah, just have a better experience overall by sourcing out some of that help. I think is something we'll definitely be doing this coming up year. Okay, our last and final mistake number 5, is probably just a big lesson for us this year, is balancing being busy and actually giving ourselves time to rest. We are honestly obsessed with our shop, me and my husband. Like, we eat and breathe it. When we're like traveling and visiting family, it's like hard because we're not like doing something. We're like, how do we relax? How do we, not build something? And then we're constantly talking about the shop because we're obsessed with it. We love what we're building. We truly believe in it, and we love creating things together. We're both just creative people in general. So, it's hard to turn that off. And so sometimes we've had to deliberately like catch each other, like, let's turn it off today. Let's go for a walk and just like enjoy the pups or whatever. But I think when you're constantly moving, like we're working full-time jobs, we come and do Krafted by Koko, we are doing all that, and it just, you get into this routine and you just keep going and you're riding that train, and we are just obsessed with it. And so it doesn't really feel like we're working, but I think when we are working those late hours and late weekends, especially over the holiday season, I have to say that, it can start to get on you if you don't build in time for rest. And I think that's something I definitely want to do this year, is build in just more intentional rest time, or moments where we can just shut off. I think it's a true blessing to be busy. Like, every time I'm busy, I'm like, I am so lucky to be busy right now. We need to just be mindful about building in rest so we can continue this process. So that is something that I definitely want to do this year, is just be more thoughtful about how we plan our time. Kind of my goal for this year is just to work on, and something that I think we made mistakes in like last year, is just pushing. I don't know if I could necessarily call that a mistake, just pushing through it, because I think that's a great quality to have, is just to be persistent and work hard and have that hustle. But I think we didn't take as much time to just stop and rest as maybe we should have. And so I want to just do that going forward, is build that in more and have that be something that is top of mind going into 2026. So with that being said, those are all of the mistakes and wins. And I appreciate if you made it this far through the video, because I know I can be long-winded on some of these things, but hopefully these will resonate with you, and you guys maybe are feeling some of the same things. If you're a small business, whether you're in the same niche as me or you're a different niche, I hope that it resonates with you, or that you can look back on some of these things and maybe learn from my mistakes if you are starting your own small business. But it definitely was a fantastic year, and I wouldn't change anything. I am so happy to be doing what I'm doing and love this small business I've created, and can't wait to see it go through 2026 and have the same conversation with you a year from now and see where we are. But before I go, I just want to highlight some of the goals that I have for this year. Koko is here and wants to say hi. You want to say hi to everybody and say thank you for a good 2025? She heard me up here talking. I was like, what is going on? What you doing? We're just about to tell them more about 2025 and how it went. You gonna help me? Koko is wanting to eat the little funny thing on the camera. You can't do that, baby. You can't eat that. You can't eat that. You hear me? What are you trying to tell everybody? You want them to look at how pretty you are? So for our goals this year, I have several goals I want to highlight, even though there are different micro goals, I guess, or short-term goals. These are going to be the goals that I just have highlighted because they're really important to me, I guess. One of the biggest goals I have this year is being consistent on YouTube. I have been so inconsistent. I started on here with a couple videos, a studio vlogs, and then I just kind of disappear, and then I pop back on and then disappear again. So I want to be a little bit more consistent where I'm bringing weekly videos every single week. And so I'm kind of trying to build that time into our weekly process so I can continue to connect with you guys on here, and you guys can actually see the growth. Like last year, so many things happened, but none of it I shared. I just worked behind the scenes. And this year I'd really like to just bring you guys along the ride with me so you feel like the process as we're going through it. So yeah, that's definitely a big goal of mine this year. And so y'all better hold me to it. Next big goal for me is minimizing our processing time. Because we are handmade to order, our processing time currently is 10 to 15 business days, which in reality can take like 2 to 3 weeks. And so that's a long time to wait for items, you know, even if they're customized and handmade. I feel like that's a long time, and I appreciate every single person who waits on their items for me, because it like genuinely means so much that you pay, you know, you buy something on my shop and then you wait 3 weeks for it to get made. And hopefully in the future, me or my husband will be able to do this more full time, which will allow us to like just minimize that processing time right away. But we can't financially do that right now at this point in our lives and where the shop is currently at. So I really want to try to minimize processing time given the current circumstances of us both working full time. And we've already done that. We're in January 11th, and we're still at a 2 to 3 week, 10 to 15 day processing time, but our orders are going out at the 2 week mark right now rather than the 3 week mark. And so I just kind of want to keep it there. And then once I know we can consistently do it, then I will change it like officially on our website. Our last and final goal is just being more consistent with our launches, our doggy bags, our mystery bundles, and just launches in general. I feel like looking back at 2025, a lot of it was really off the cuff, like we had ideas, we were thinking on them, and then it took a while for us to like put into action, and then we put into action, and I don't know, it just didn't feel like super organized. And I think we just let it go with our creative wave rather than being more strategic. And this year I'd like to still have room and space to be creative and be ourselves, but with being a little bit more strategic and intentional with like the calendar and planning things out. So this year, that is like one of my biggest goals too, is just like have it lined up. So we're not stressing at the last minute, or we're not thinking about things at the last minute. We're thinking super ahead. And I started doing that at the end of last year, but this year I really wanted to like level up a notch. And so yeah, it's be nice to have a seamless, organized plan and think strategically while also leaving room in there for us to be creative and, you know, be able to design without feeling like we've got to design something, you know, that's just not my style. But so yeah, I definitely say being more organized and having a strategic plan is going to be a big goal for us this year. Thank you so much if you've made it to the end of this video. I truly appreciate you sticking along with me, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing just a little recap of where we are in 2025 and where we're going in 2026. And yeah, please stay tuned because I hope to stay to one of my goals, which was being consistent on YouTube. Come along with us on our journey because we're going to be sharing a lot more behind the scenes of what it's like to run this small shop and you know, what we put into it. And we don't want to just share the highlights. We want to be able to share the mistakes and some of the challenging parts too. So I'm definitely going to be bringing you guys along for the ride this year. Liked watching this video and are interested and, you know, hanging out with us this year as we continue to grow our small business, please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when a new video comes out. And, you know, give it a like and a share. Every little engagement really helps our channel and helps us grow. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate you guys being here till the end, and I will see you guys in the next video.